Today is day 3 for the Karmelo Anthony trial. Yes, they had court on Saturday. Now, they called a lot of students to the stand. Most of these testimonies kind of vary depending on who asked the questions. The prosecutors did rest their case, and the defense started to call up their own witnesses. Now, the first few witnesses are all called up by the prosecution. The first one is a 17-year-old Memorial High School student. He states that once he got to the track meet, he went under the tent, and he said he was looking for someone to talk to. He spotted Karmelo Anthony, and it threw him off because Karmelo was not wearing any kind of athletic gear. He states that once the confrontation between Karmelo and Austin escalated, they were both standing up. He states that he saw Austin put his hand on Karmelo's shoulder. Then he started to hear yelling. He heard Austin say, "He stabbed me." He heard Hunter say he got stabbed. He said now he did not think that Austin or Karmelo were angry or aggressive. He did not think a fight was going to happen. He said after the incident took place, Hunter ran after Karmelo, but he soon returned to be by his brother's side, and he did not see Hunter get involved with the confrontation at all. Now, when the defense got up to do their cross-examination, they showed him a transcript of a conversation between him and the police. He originally told the investigators that he had saw Karmelo Anthony before under their tent on a separate occasion before this track meet. He also stated that once the incident took place and they got back on the bus, he states that they started to pass around a picture of Karmelo that they found on Instagram so that all the kids could see who he was. He was then asked about his statements about Hunter during this confrontation that he originally told the investigators, and he originally told them that Austin did pop in to come to Austin's defense, and he stated that Austin is bigger than Karmelo and his size could be looked at as intimidating. Now, the second witness to take the stand is a 16-year-old Memorial High School student. He says that he is a part of the group of people that was asked to set up the tents and bring in the coolers, and that Austin and Hunter were also a part of that group, and he looked at Austin like a big brother. Now, he states that he saw Karmelo and he realized that he went to Centennial High School due to the logo on his backpack. It said that everybody a part of his group was asking Karmelo to leave, and Karmelo was refusing to leave. He said they repeatedly asked him this because it was no longer raining and he needed to leave the area. Now, he also said that he felt like Karmelo instigated this whole situation, that he saw him reach in his bag and heard him say stuff like, "Touch me and see what happens," or "Make me leave." And he states that nobody really thought anything of it because they were at a track meet. Nobody's expecting somebody to have a weapon on them at a track meet. Now, he states that after the incident took place, Austin had blood on his shirt and he said, "He stabbed me, he stabbed me." Hunter then told everybody, "He has a knife, y'all need to run." And then he went over to help his brother. Now, he states that once they got back on the bus, everybody was crying pretty bad, and he saw Eddie, so he went to ask Eddie about Karmelo, and that Eddie was referring to Karmelo as Mello, and he states that he feels like Karmelo did not act in self-defense. Now, when the defense got up to do their cross-examination, they asked him about statements that he had made to the police about Austin, where he said that he was afraid of him. And he said, "Yes, I was afraid of him during football." And he said he was pretty intimidating. Now, they asked him also about the conversation with Eddie Parra and the interaction between Eddie and Karmelo. And he states that he saw Karmelo and Eddie talking to each other, and that when they got on the bus, he asked Eddie about him, and Eddie said that that was a friend. Now, the third witness is another 16-year-old student. This student ran track and played soccer. He stated that he was not friends with Austin or Hunter, and that Karmelo sat next to him under the tent. He said that he did see Karmelo talking to another student. Him and that student talked for a few minutes, and that student was friends with Karmelo Anthony's girlfriend. Now, he states that once they stopped talking, somebody said, "Who is this guy?" And Karmelo responded and said, "I'm a nobody." That person responded back and said, "Well, if you're a nobody, get from under our tent." And Karmelo Anthony said, "I'm not leaving. I'm not going any effing where." And at this point, everybody started telling Karmelo that he needed to leave. Now, he states that Karmelo became more aggressive as he answered, saying that he's not leaving. "F y'all are a bunch of ussies." And he stated that Austin stepped up and took the lead and was telling him like, "Bro, just leave. Nobody wants you here." And he said that Karmelo reached his hand in his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Now, he states at this point, Austin is calm and tells Karmelo that he doesn't want to fight, and said he is not sure if Austin touched Carmelo's bag or his shoulder, but he knows that once Austin fell down, he lifted up his shirt and he saw a big hole. He said that he does remember somebody yelling out, "Austin looks dead," and that he felt like Karmelo was the aggressor in this situation and that this was not self-defense. Now, when the defense got up to do their cross-examination, he was asked about Karmelo's behavior. He said that he wasn't acting up, he was acting normal. He does remember Karmelo saying, "F you guys," and he stated that Austin did not step up when he pushed Karmelo. He just turned around on the road that he was on. The fourth witness is a recent graduate from Memorial High School. This is an important witness. This is the person that was talking to Karmelo under the tent the day of the incident. Now, he states that he was close friends with Austin, and Karmelo was somebody that he knew. Now, he states that at first he didn't really notice Karmelo Karmelo, but once he did dap him up. And when the interaction between Austin and Karmelo began, he wasn't really paying attention. He was talking to other jumpers. Now he comes back and said that he heard Austin say, "Who are you? You need to get from under our tent." And said that Karmelo started to repeat and say, "You gotta move me." And then Karmelo allegedly called Austin a B word. He said other curse words were used. And at that point, Austin and Karmelo were both cursing at each other. Now he says Karmelo started to get mad and Austin started to get defensive because it was somebody under our tent that we did not know. Now he says Karmelo reached into his bag. And at that point, he really didn't think he had nothing in there. And that he heard Austin tell him, "You don't have nothing in that bag." And Karmelo responded back and said, "Touch me and see." Now he also added in at some point that Hunter did back up his brother and was saying, "You don't got nothing in that bag." Now he states that even though Hunter said that he does not feel that anybody was ganging up on Karmelo. Now he states that Austin did do a soft shove. It was not aggressive at all. And then that's when Karmelo stabbed him. He said that this was not about race. This was not about self-defense, and nobody was ganging up on Karmelo. Now the defense got up to do their cross-examination, and this is when things get tricky. They asked him about the conversation with him and Karmelo, and he said that Karmelo was saying that they're ass, that they're bad, talking about the football team, and he states that he used to be friends with Karmelo's girlfriend. They then start to show him pictures. Now the first picture is him and Karmelo making funny faces. This was at the birthday party for the girlfriend's mother. They then show him a picture of him and Karmelo playing basketball, a picture of him and Karmelo roasting marshmallows. They then show him a picture of Karmelo at his grandmother's birthday party. And at this point, the prosecutors object to say, "We've already established that he knows Karmelo." So then the defense goes back and say, "You know Karmelo way more than you letting these jurors know, right?" And he was like, "No, I only hung around him around his girlfriend's family." And then he started to say, like, "I wouldn't be surprised if Karmelo told them that we were cool with each other and that's why he was under the tent." So then they introduced another picture. It was him and Karmelo sitting together at a track meet previously before this incident took place. Now he then told the defense attorney that anytime that Karmelo was at his house, he was never disrespectful. He also told them that once Karmelo called Austin the B word, that Austin called him one back, and that's when Karmelo put his hand in his bag. They asked him why didn't he step up and say anything. Did he say anything to other teammates? Did he say anything to Karmelo? He said he didn't say anything. And he was like, "Why didn't you tell them who Karmelo was, that you knew him or anything?" And he said he felt like he didn't need to. They then asked him, "Didn't you tell the police that you did not see where Austin grabbed Karmelo?" And he said that was true. He did tell the police that. Now the fifth witness is another 16-year-old student. He is a linebacker for the football team. He throws the shot put and discus for track. He states that he turned around hearing Austin telling this random guy to get from under their tent. He said that Karmelo was being stubborn. He was not trying to move. He also states that he heard Karmelo say, "Touch me and see what happens," although he did not see the actual stabbing. He said that Karmelo challenged Austin to a fight, and at that point Austin said, "I'm not going to fight you at a track meet." And the next thing that he really heard Austin say was, "He stabbed me, he stabbed me, he stabbed me." He said he then went up to see what was going on and to help, and he said at this point the coaches were holding Hunter back and that Austin was on the ground with a hole in his chest and he was turning blue and purple. Now he says that he feels like that Karmelo was the aggressor in this situation and he had no reason to stab Austin. Now when the defense got up to do their cross-examination, they asked him about when he sat down with the police, and he stated that on the day of the incident he did not give a statement to the police. He did not want to talk to anybody after this incident took place. He said that while everything was going on, he was at the bottom of the bleachers listening to Creed. Now the sixth witness is Dr. Elizabeth Ventura. She's the chief medical examiner. She was there to introduce some autopsy photos and talk about the condition of Austin's body. She stated that Austin was 6'1", 213 pounds. He was seemingly healthy. She said that the wound perforated the chest bone and the sac that surrounds the heart, and that it penetrated the right ventricle. Now she states that this type of wound is not survivable. Now at this point, they started to show the jurors the autopsy photos, and according to the reporters inside of the courtroom, that some of the jurors had an emotional reaction once they saw these photos, and that they also showed a replica of the blade that was used, and they stated that this was the type of blade that could cause that wound, and that the death was ruled as an unaliving. Now when the cross-examination got up, they started to talk about, is it possible that he could have went over on the knife when he shoved Austin? And they discussed this, and it said that it is possible, but it's not a very high chance of this happening. And they also mentioned that yes, this knife is 3.5 inches long, but the penetration depth is only 2.5 inches long. So the prosecutors got up to do a redirect for this witness, and they wanted to go ahead and clear up the whole thing of Austin being able to fall on this knife. And the examiner said that this is very unlikely to happen because of how the wound was, and that this is a 1 in a 1,000 chance that this could ever happen. Now at this point, the prosecutors rested their case. The defense got up and asked for a directed verdict. This is a normal procedural step. The judge denied it. Now the defense has to call their witnesses. Their first witness is Coach Linwood. He is a coach for the track team and football team, and he was really testifying to track culture. He said that it is very normal for people to be under other people's tents. He said that he had never heard of a policy saying that you could not be under somebody else's tent, that most of the time when kids are there, they're there to make friends, or in between events, they're socializing. Now, he also said that track is like a player-led sport. It's an organized chaos. And he says that since this incident has taken place, they have included policies now to stay with your own team. And then they showed a picture of Karmelo Anthony from back in like 2024. Karmelo was injured. His arm was in a sling. And they stated that he was the co-captain of the football team during this time, and stated that he was still showing up for practices, showing up for the teams, even though that he was injured. Now, the prosecutors got up to do their cross-examination, and they asked about the tents. He said that they did have tents. It was on another bus, and that they really did not have the manpower to put the tents up, but also the tents were not there on time as well. Now, they then asked about Karmelo being there that morning. They said that Karmelo did have events, and there was a reason for him to be there, but he should have been on the field warming up and not in the bleachers. He stated that he was outside of the stadium when this incident took place, and he was shocked to hear that one of their students had stabbed somebody. They then asked about the weapons policy. He said that there is a zero tolerance weapons policy and that no weapons should have been brought at all. They then wanted to clarify about the blade. They asked him, was this a cleat sharpener? He said no, that this was not a cleat sharpener. This was a knife. Now, the defense did get up to do a redirect, and they wanted to clarify that they did not force this witness to testify. And they also asked him, did he know Coach Starr from Frisco High School? And he said that he did not know Coach Starr. Now, the eighth witness to take the stand is a recent graduate from Centennial High School. He ran track and played football with Karmelo. He stated that he looked at him as a friend and he called him Mello. Now, he was testifying to the difference between track and football. He said with track, it is more laid back. You could walk around, you could socialize. So the prosecutors got up to do their cross-examination, and during this time they asked him about his brother because he is also a twin, asking him, do he love his brother? He stated that yes, he did. He also stated that he has also been under the Memorial High School tent before. He was there on another occasion with Karmelo. They then asked him, well, you seem really laid back. You seem pretty chill. If they were to ask you to leave, would you leave? He stated yes. They asked him, would he ever bring a knife or a blade to a track meet? And he said no. Now, the ninth and final witness is a 17-year-old from Memorial High School, and this is probably the most important witness so far. He saw Karmelo Anthony from the moment he walked over to that tent. Now, he stated that he did not answer the calls from the defense, and he also stated that he did talk to the police after this incident took place. Now, he states that he saw Karmelo from the moment he walked over to that tent. He said you could tell that him and Eddie knew each other. They greeted each other, shook hands, and they talked. He then goes on to say that Eddie actually called Karmelo over, and that is the reason why Karmelo came to the tent. He said that they talked about 5 minutes. Now, he goes on to say that the first person to say something to Karmelo was Hunter, not Austin. He said that Hunter was sitting 2 rows down and kind of to the right to Karmelo. They then asked him, was Hunter a big guy? He said, you could say that, but Austin is bigger than Hunter. They then asked him, what did he tell the police about Hunter? He said that Hunter did not tolerate disrespect. He said that Hunter started asking Karmelo to leave with a moderate tone, but it increased as he continued to ask. He also said that Karmelo responded back and said, nobody got a problem with me being here but you. Now, according to this witness, Austin is 5 rows below Karmelo. He states that the only people that were saying anything to Karmelo at this time was Hunter and Austin. And he said at some point, Austin stood up. Hunter stood up as well, but Hunter did not stand up until later on in the event. When asked about Hunter's tone, he agreed that Hunter started off with a moderate tone, and he said it got a little bit more aggressive. He stated that when Austin started off, he had a moderate tone as well. And then they asked him about his statements to the police that Austin told him that he needed to move or he'll beat his ass. And he said that he don't remember saying that as like a direct quote. Now, he then agreed that once Austin stood up, then that's when Karmelo reached into his bag and that he took that as a warning to back off. He also said that Austin was saying that you don't have anything in that bag. We're in Frisco. That's how I know. And they were having a whole back and forth. And they then confirmed that Austin had to come up 5 rows to get to Karmelo. And before he made his final move, he had to move up 1 row just to reach him. He then says that Karmelo said, as long as you don't touch me, we're cool. And that's when Austin did the tap to his shoulder. He said that Karmelo then says, okay, you touch me, but as long as you don't punch me, we're cool. And within a split second, that's when Karmelo pulled his hand out of his book bag. And that's when the tragic event happened. Now, the prosecutor started their cross-examination. They asked, did he know Karmelo? He stated no. They asked, did Austin step up to try to get Karmelo to leave the tent? He said yes. He also said that he heard Karmelo say something to the nature of make me move. He reached in his bag, and then he also responded back saying that he wasn't from Frisco. They asked what did he take from that, and he said he felt like that meant that Karmelo could do something violent. They then asked him, did Austin punch Karmelo? He stated no, that Austin just grabbed a hold of him and tried to move him back. And they asked him, when you see a shove, do you expect to see a shove back? He also said yes to that question. Now, he did say that he was one of the people that called 911. He was not expected to see a stabbing happen. He then demonstrated what he saw when the stabbing took place. And they asked him who was in the wrong that morning. He said that he thought Karmelo was in the wrong. And they asked him, did Karmelo provoke this situation? And he said yes, he did. Now, this was the last witness for today. Trial will resume on Monday, so we do get a break tomorrow. It looks like this is moving pretty fast, and this could possibly be to the jurors by the end of this week coming up. Once I have more information regarding any of this, I will let you all know.